Previously on JonBenet Today.
I want to be just like that guy, and I'm going to pretend to you in this call I'm actually him. And
Okay.
you, listen, I'm asking you respectfully, go along with it.
Okay.
Just go along with it. I'm sure that it'll iron itself out on the way to wherever it is that we're going. Probably a killing field. I haven't for all these years been living as a woman. It's really bad, and he's accusing me of stalking his family. Well, his words exactly, well before his daughter was murdered. He was a very persistent person with me, and he just kept on putting on the pressure and putting on the pressure, and he was using the dying mother to play on my heart, and he knew that he could for some reason. I don't know why. And so he was using her. She's suffering, she's dying, she must have closure. And who's to say that I can't say anymore. He got so angry at me because I said, no, actually, I've known prettier girls, and I've known smarter girls, and I definitely have known more talented girls musically. There's no doubt about that. That kid needed some work on her singing.
You know, we still had lingering questions.
Yeah, Bobby has like a bunch of questions.
Well, one of them mainly being for me is the $1 million question that he's never answered.
What's that?
What's his connection with JonBenet?
When did you first relate to JonBenet then? When did you get that sense that... I can't tell you that.
No answer?
I don't think that I can answer that.
I can't respond to any details about my connection with her before her death.
That's, I think, an area that people would be interested in hearing about.
Yeah, wouldn't they be interested in hearing that? But is it any of their business?
I can't discuss the details of my connection with her. It's unfortunate. I wished I could.
So we set it up, and we got him again.
Oh my God, a whole nother phone call?
If this phone call, if the first phone call we had could help in you getting past this and stopping, you could remember that I was the person who closed the casket lid on this whole thing. I've never admitted to knowing her, and there's a reason for that, because it would incriminate her. But he said, I will only tell her parents, because her mother at the end, then he was like shaking me and saying she's dying and blah, 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 and she needs closure. Why don't you ask yourself, did she need closure? Do you think she needed closure? I mean, do you? I'm not saying she didn't. I'm asking you, do you think that dying mom needed closure about how her daughter died and what happened to her daughter and who killed her daughter? I'm asking you that question, sir.
All right, you guys both got your wine. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Donna, pour me a little more wine.
On a Thursday.
No, pour me some more of the wine.
Oh, yeah.
Out of the cup.
Here. Oh, all right.
Out of it.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Jesus Christ.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Jinx.
Well, I'm not going to be day drinking, but I'm celebrating with you guys because
Bobby's sober. Celebrating.
We're celebrating.
He's got a new attitude.
Yeah, the final call with John Mark Karr. This is the final episode, the final interview. All the questions will be answered.
All of the questions are going to be answered. There's no more after this. The bridges have been burned. Todd Bridges was burned.
Yeah, he's been commenting a lot on the different accounts. Let me tell you what, guys. This is the juiciest one. This is the one that you want to listen to it. So.
Right.
It's dripping moist down my gullet.
I like that. Okay, that was pretty good.
I got my day wine.
I like it. Day wine.
I got day wine.
It brings them out.
All right. Well, hey guys, let's get started. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan, this man.
And this is
JonBenet Today.
Why don't you ask yourself, did she need closure? Do you think she needed closure? I mean, do you? I'm not saying she didn't. I'm asking you, do you think that dying mom needed closure about how her daughter died and what happened to her daughter and who killed her daughter? I'm asking you that question, sir.
I didn't have that in doubt until our last call, where you stopped yourself short of basically saying that. Where you said basically along those lines of he said she needed closure.
Listen, man, listen to me, bro. I don't want to talk about that last call no more. You bring up that last call number, I'm gonna walk right out this door, baby. Listen, we down in Louisiana, man. I'm at Lake Charles right now. Lake Charles, Louisiana. I ain't talking about that last call no more. I don't even know who that dude was. Didn't talk like me. Who was that dude, man? That dude was somebody. He was an imposter. I don't even know who you're talking about. No, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, but I didn't question it. But again,
that
made me question the connection that you had with her, because it was you started
back to it.
You were saying basically who's to say she needs closure, and you started to say that the last time, but. That's what I'm saying.
I'm asking you the question. No one ever, I've never asked that question of anyone but you. I'm asking you, do you think she needed closure?
I honestly, no. I think she does know what would happen to her, something along those lines.
Okay. Do you know what the unsealed indictment was? It was only one charge and some. You do realize that that indictment, those counts were saying that her and her husband knew who killed their daughter, allowed this person to have access to their daughter, and furthermore was protecting this person.
Right. And that's why I wonder if you would have been charged in 2006, would that have opened up that grand jury stuff where people would have seen that? Because then it's like, if you get charged, then also they could possibly get charged because their original charge was aiding for murder in the first.
Well, I will say this to you about the counts that were against me. There were only 5 in 2006, but can I just tell you this between you and me? I know the state of Colorado, they have one of the most, I have studied criminal law in several different states in America and a little bit of federal law. And I'm here to tell you that Colorado law is the most complicated criminal law I have ever seen in my life. You get charged with one thing, and then there's subcategories to it. And then in the subcategories, there's some more subcategories. In other words, you don't just get charged with murder in the first degree. Underneath that, there's other things, and you're getting time for every subcategory. You get time as a suspect if you're convicted.
Yeah, they don't have bail.
I will say this. I want to say this. There would have been more charges than those 5 charges that they brought against me. One would have been tampering with evidence. One would have been a desecration of a dead body. They're really on about that in Colorado, the desecration of a dead body. She was found with ligatures around her neck, and she was found on a basement ground, and maybe she'd been dragged around on the ground. Desecration, and I don't think anyone's ever said that. Strike that last part. But it was desecration of a dead body. They charged people with that. They charged Chris Watts with that because he dumped his children into the oil barrels, and they were bobbing around in those oil barrels in oil. So that was desecration of and did you know that in the state of Colorado, that can carry up to 20-something years in prison? Up to 20-something years. Chris Watts got 20-something years for that. So if they came back on me and arrested me and said, we don't think you killed this girl, we just think you desecrated her dead body, I'd go to prison for 25 years. I'm 60. You understand where I'm coming from on this? My handwriting was matched by 4, at the time, prominent handwriting experts to a ransom letter left behind. That is a charge. It's obstruction of justice, number 1. It's obstruction of justice. It's tampering with it. It could be some sort of a tampering charge on top of it. And even just with obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence and creating false evidence, the list goes on. And in the state of Colorado, it starts splintering off. Just if they arrested me and said, well, we're gonna honor those 4 handwriting experts, and we're gonna charge you just with writing that ransom letter. I know a person who came to me. I've known the person over the years, but this person said, I still don't think you killed that girl, but I am fully convinced you wrote that ransom letter. Fully convinced. And I said, well, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
But you have to understand that could carry 25 to 40 years. There's no telling what that could carry. I do know that the desecration of a dead body, and I documented that law, and I can send it to you if you'd like to know, a Colorado law of desecrating a dead body. are tampering with a dead body, or it's something about desecration. And tampering, I think, with the dead body is what it's called. In other words, you can just basically, like I said, drag somebody across the floor, or
It's whatever you do to their body after they're dead. Yeah.
tie a yellow ribbon around their forehead. It doesn't matter what you do. You're tampering with a dead body, and it's illegal. And like I said, it can the time that you get can range, I think, from something like 10 years all the way up to 22 years, something like that. I have to go back and I'll find those laws, and I'll send them. Look, when Chris Watts got convicted, and I was first of all, when he got charged, I was waiting for those charges. What's he getting charged with? Because whatever he got charged with, I would have gotten charged with that. And I wasn't charged with desecrating a dead body. I wasn't charged with anything related to the ransom letter. But that doesn't mean anything. That was an initial arrest warrant that just got me arrested. It got me extradited. It got me back to Los Angeles, where I stayed for something like 2 weeks in hell, the worst jail I've ever been in my life. Don't get in trouble in Los Angeles. You will be tortured.
Good to know.
That place, oh yeah, just don't. Get in trouble in some lib state or something. So then finally back to Colorado, they had to have the facts, man. They had the murder charges, they had the kidnapping charges, they had the sex assault charge, and they just had the basics. But I can assure you, man, there would have been more charges. And you're talking about as it goes back. Let me ask you this question. I like to ask people questions. I mean, it applies to me, but I want to know what you think about me. And I still haven't asked you the $1 million question, as people put it to me, but I will. I want to know, and I wanted quickly to just read what that charge was, that indictment was that was sealed. Why do you think that was sealed? And why do you think only number 7 and its subcategories was released? And we know that there was 7 counts because they released count number 7. That's a lot of counts, my friend.
I mean, it seemed like, yeah.
We know that at least 6 prior to it were counts against those people. That's a lot of stuff. What?
I mean, Alex Hunter had done it before. He's done it like he would not press charges. He would do stuff where he would convene a grand jury and then seal it. And he would even lie to the victims' families and be like, oh, they decided not to press charges, but then use that. So it almost seems like he was protecting the family by doing that.
You do realize that Mary Lacey was on his team in the late 90s, and she helped to draft that indictment.
The first one? She worked I thought she worked in the sex crimes back then.
Did she? She wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't working as a deputy district attorney in the late 90s.
No, she was with the Boulder Police. She was working in their sex crimes division because supposedly she was kind of sour that she wasn't put on the JonBenet thing.
Oh wow, that's something new. That's a new crease in my pants. That makes a lot of difference. The reason that makes a difference is because she would have inside knowledge of what those other counts are, and it could have affected. She didn't need anything else to affect her decision to arrest me. She didn't need anything else. She didn't need it. I was told that the judge that presided over the grand jury, which is very limited, basically it's convening the jurors and knowing what the outcome is, and that's about it. They exit stage left during the process. But that same judge did sign my arrest warrant in 2006.
Wow.
And she would have had knowledge. The judge that signed my arrest warrant would have. I have that woman's name.
That's interesting.
She would have.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she would have had knowledge of what those missing sealed counts are, and it would have affected whether she signed off. And here's my question. Okay, it says that the family, had knew who the killer was of their daughter. And that they were protecting that person. Now, who was that person, you think, that they were protecting?
I think that if they could have, if somebody didn't know you were in the home and they found her like that, I think they found her earlier than they said they did, they would have assumed it was Burke. And I believe they would have been trying to protect for that. Now, if it was the instance where somebody knew you were there or something like that, I could see it being protecting their own interests.
Well, there was a grand jury hearing, and they were presented with evidence. And the grand jury, not just the grand jury was listening to that evidence, but the prosecution was listening to that evidence, and it helped them to draft an indictment against those parents.
Right.
Which I'm not sure that all the 6 prior counts were against the parents. To say that the person they were protecting was their 9-year-old son. They also, during that months-long grand jury hearing, someone would have had to present it just how that 9-year-old boy managed it. Because see, the counts that were released did not say that the parents killed their daughter.
Right.
It said they knew who killed their daughter and they were protecting that person.
So, okay. So you obviously don't see it as the way of they were protecting Burke. You see it more as that they were protecting themselves.
The grand jury could be convinced that a 9-year-old boy could have done all that. I just don't think that they could have been convinced that a 9-year-old boy, I like it. It sounds good. It gets the heat off me. I don't care if Burke Ramsey goes to prison for the rest of his life. More life of freedom for me. But it's not reasonable.
I can't see the grand jury hearing a theory where they think that, an outside person from the house was in there and the Ramseys covered it up. Because I just can't see them even trying to put, I don't know.
Well, they were supposed to be presented with evidence, not theories. During the time that they're supposed to be presented, even if it's spoken hearsay, anything can be said during a grand jury hearing, and anyone can participate, including agencies of law enforcement outside Boulder County or Boulder Police, which I'm pretty sure, because I know of an investigation that happened simultaneously with the grand jury hearing. And that's about all the information I'm going to give you about that. But it was going on simultaneously, and it did involve the Ramsey family.
Huh.
So that what I don't know, and no one knows, is that the jurors and the prosecution who was sitting in there, in that room, and then the judge who saw the results of the indictment knows if that law enforcement agency did go into the grand jury hearing and take the stand and present what they had. I know the information that other agency had. I don't know how they conducted their investigation based on that information, though. And this is interesting. I didn't find out about this until that was the late 1990s, and all the way to 2007, I think. That's when I found out about this other simultaneous investigation going on.
Interesting. Huh.
That is something I cannot say anything further about, but I do have my suspicions that might have affected the outcome of the parents being indicted for protecting someone, why would it say allowed access to? Wouldn't her brother already have access to her? He lived with her.
That's a good point.
Just give me a second. And let me look this up and just read what this says, because I don't want to get anything wrong. I'm just trying to tell you that there's no reason why they wouldn't mention the name of that kid. It wouldn't make a difference.
Well, that stuff would be sealed because he's a minor.
Well, maybe that's why the whole thing was sealed. But see, there's this camp of people who theorize that a 9-year-old boy killed his sister. He would have had to have had some assistance.
Absolutely.
It's not out of the question, I guess, that he killed his sister. It wouldn't have been a sex crime. That's for damn sure.
Right.
it's my knowledge that he didn't get along with his sister, and it's my knowledge that he antagonized her quite a bit. He was quite the antagonizer. He bullied her, basically. I don't think I'd call it bullying. It was just more, his mental level was not high enough to be a bully. You have to be you have to really kind of be a leader quality to bully someone. He just aggravated her.
It was a pest, yeah.
He aggravated her on a constant basis. But that doesn't make a 9-year-old boy want to murder his sister. As a matter of fact, he would have quite enjoyed antagonizing her, and he would have known if he killed her, then the game would be over. And he'd just be all by himself. Who could he antagonize now? I have worked with thousands of children the world over. I still do. And if I know any group of people, I know children. And when I say children, I'm not talking about teens. I'm talking about children. And that 9-year-old boy did not kill his sister. That's my theory. And if he did, his mother and father, I don't think they would have had a reason to protect him. Why would they? What would they be protecting him from? Nothing would have happened to him. You understand that, right? I mean,
exactly. It'd be more image based, I think, though.
Nothing would have happened to him. He would have gone to juvie for 3 years, and he would have been in psychiatric care up until the age of 18, and then after that, he would have gone out and done whatever it is that he wanted to do. Is he a odd man? Yeah. Oh boy, that I saw some clips from his interview with Dr. Phil, just some clips, and I just
who thought that was a good idea?
Loud. Yeah, I said that out loud. I was like, Burke, oh boy. What were you thinking? $27,000. That's what he was thinking. That's what he was paid. So
okay.
I don't know why he needed $27,000, but somewhere along the way he had plans for that $27,000.
Interesting.
So he got paid $27,000, and then he's been a regular little bank for for John Ramsey. I mean, they made some little mint from CBS News for just merely having a documentary where a retired FBI agent just said, well, I just think he just took a golf club and wrapped that girl upside the head, and then that was the end of that. They settle out of court. Of course, they knew that the case wasn't strong enough. The Ramsey lawyers knew it wasn't strong enough to take to trial, and was advised, of course, to settle out of court. We don't know how much money they got.
Right.
There's no reason to believe that it was millions. They sued for $54 million.
They sued for $750 million.
Well, something, yeah, like that. But there's no reason to believe that they actually even got a cool million out of it. There's no way to know.
No, I don't think he did.
That's all a bunch of show business, man. Now, this man's a book writer. Mr. Ramsey's I want to ask you a question about me. Do you think that I stalked that little girl well before she was murdered?
No. I think that again, I think there was some sort of familial connection before, and that's why it wouldn't be considered stalking.
What is that familial connection, and why? And did John Ramsey know about it?
I don't think he did. I think John was a very hands-off father, and I don't think he was there a lot. So if you were somehow
absolutely right about that,
and I think that if you
you're
were
a smart man about that.
Because that family dynamic is the thing is I don't think people realize how much John was just not there or present for these things. So he would have no idea who are these people in his house or what's going on.
I thought about that earlier today. I was on my morning walk, and it reminds me of a scene from 1 Hour Photo, the film with Robin Williams. And there's a scene where the wife is in a fight with her husband, and she said, you are very emotionally disconnected from this family. And that always reminded me of John Ramsey when she said that to him, because he was so emotionally disconnected from his family. He wouldn't know if his wife was having an affair.
Or to care.
He wouldn't know if his, no, I don't know if he would care or not. He would have a concern about it getting out into the society, because they were trying to be high society people.
Right.
They were better at that in Atlanta, where you might find, if you'd had a conversation with Patsy Ramsey back in the day, just when they moved to Boulder, you might have heard her say something to the effect of, "My friends in Atlanta were real friends. My friends in Boulder are not." So she was a West Virginia girl. They weren't country by any means, but in a way they were.
You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get the feeling that he knew the family.
What?
Oh, yeah.
John Mark Karr knew the Ramsey family?
He's insinuating
That'd be
that.
unprecedented information.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah.
Bobby, I think we're jinxing John Mark Karr.
Jinx him. Oh,
Yeah, you're jinxing him.
Oh, like the show?
Yeah, like the true
Robert
crime
Durst?
HBO spectacular.
Yeah, where they nabbed Robert Durst in the finale.
Where he basically confessed
Yes.
about an accident.
You know, they are very similar, honestly.
I know, like
Very-
the hot mic, like we had,
Yeah,
like,
I
you
bet they
know,
both
like
have, like,
saying, like you think you can just speak
velvet
freely,
sport
but you
jacket,
never
Worn
can.
wigs to,
Like,
you know,
Yeah.
escape by.
They like Canadian bacon, not real bacon.
shut.
And that's suspicious.
Was that a part of the jinx? That he didn't like real bacon? But yeah, I guess it is kind of like the jinx.
Yeah. Fred
Hot
Durst.
mic.
Hot mic'd. And
Not Fred Durst,
ate
Robert
that open
Durst.
can of beans with Dennis the Menace and Kevin Richardson.
Fred
And
Durst
just
is
didn't
Limp Bizkit.
stop. Just
He's
like
Bizkit ain't no Limp.
overflowing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see what he says now. He just keeps overflowing with
Oh
information.
yeah, the man doesn't stop. You
Like,
know.
it's crazy.
And Donna's an expert of overflowing because her vagina leaks like a goddamn Maryland slum sewer.
You know what?
We
You
couldn't
were-
have
all right,
one
all right.
family-friendly episode. You
I thought
almost
we
did
were
it.
cool.
I saw worms peeking out of a fat like
That is-
like
wait,
the
that's not
Sarlacc pit
worms.
in Return to the Bed-Eye.
Return
Teddy,
to
I'm not
Jedi.
gonna.
I'm not Jewish, Bobby.
Okay, that's
We
not-
don't.
Don't, no, I don't know. I don't know no Jedi.
All right, we don't need to go here.
Can we get back to the
Yeah,
area?
please?
Yeah. We'll get back to the jinx.
The jinx.
We're jinxing him. We're
Jinx.
jinxing him.
Jinx. Jinx.
Jinx.
We jinx him and we jinx each other. Play the interview.
Just when they moved to Boulder, you might have heard her say something to the effect of, "My friends in Atlanta were real friends. My friends in Boulder are not." So she was a West Virginia girl. They weren't country by any means, but in a way they were. She was raised almost by that Southern protocol in West Virginia. She was a pageant girl, which is a Southern tradition. And then they went down to Atlanta, and she thrived in Atlanta, especially on a social level. And for them to move to that Yankee Northern, the enemy to the Southern culture, laughing at Southerners, making fun of them, joking about them being dumb hillbillies, and she entered into that. You can imagine the culture shock that
Right.
she alone would have experienced. And she might have liked to have had a good friend from back home, from back in Atlanta, someone who was born in Atlanta, someone who was a good old true friend of hers that went way back to Georgia, someone genuine,
Yeah.
someone who wasn't fake, someone who didn't just like them because they had money. And, you know, I feel the saddest when people ask me if I had an affair with Patsy Ramsey. That one makes me sadder than anything else. Until I heard one person say, she never would have had an affair with JMK. He wasn't her type. My wife at the time was a ravishing, gorgeous girl in her 20s. I was some women's type, I can assure you. I wasn't a dog. So that was the dumbest thing that I ever heard. But now that person who said that insisted that I did know her and that we were close. Now, my question to you, I'm not answering in the affirmative that I ever knew her. That goes back to one of your questions that need to be answered. Is it true that you had any involved? Oh, we didn't do the Randall Simons.
Yeah, we did.
Randall Simons question. Why would I know a photographer in Boulder
Yeah, we
instead
did
of a
that.
photographer in Atlanta? Okay, then we go to, I still didn't say whether I knew him or not. I've been asked that question several times over the years. That's an interesting one. I don't know why. I think that people just think that anyone who photographs little girls is a pedophile, and that there's must have been some sort of a conspiracy with that pedophile photographer and this pedophile photographer. I'm a photographer, by the way, and I work, even presently, I work with photography.
Oh.
So,
yeah, no, that was more
I
just in
work
relation
with
to if you were
children.
connected through the pageants. Because for me, that's more of the $1 million question of what
right,
your
we're
role.
changing.
Yeah.
Changing to that. Right, changing to that question. Is it true that you had any involvement with Patsy or her daughter through pageants, coaching, or event hosting? Very possible. Now, if it was coaching, that would bleed over into pageants because she needed coaching in the area of her talent. Her talent was singing. I do have a confirmed documented past in coaching little girls, to be precise,
Right.
in singing. One of the most important of those little girls, whose name will remain anonymous, was a little 10-year-old girl that I worked with in Napa, California. That little girl had auditioned for the role of Cosette on Broadway in the play Les Miserables, and she landed the role.
Oh, wow.
And then later, because she was a very academic little girl, she was afraid it was going to interrupt in her school life, so she turned it down. I think she made a tremendous mistake that she's probably regretting to this very day.
Yeah.
I worked with her. She had the most fabulous voice I've ever heard come out of a child, the most talented little girl. Was I a voice coach for little girls? Absolutely. Is it possible that I could have been for JonBenet in Atlanta? Sure. In Colorado? Why? This is not a place I lived near. I had no ties to Colorado. I had no ties to Charlevoix, Michigan, or the state of Michigan. I had ties to Georgia. It's all about Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, and Georgia. And I pointed out all of this in that statement that I wanted you to read before the phone call.
Yeah.
And it's well clear what everything that I said, it's true, it's honest. I have lived as close as 3 miles from John and Patsy Ramsey. As close as 3 miles for years at a time in Atlanta. See, the FBI, they know that's critical. And that's why they're smart enough to know that's critical. So, you know, here's the thing. The question you really need to ask is, what happened on the night that girl died? What happened to that girl? Was it what I described to Mr. Tracy? And it was quite convincing because the physical evidence corroborated with things, for instance, that the medical examiner withheld from the public for 10 years. That's pretty damning. Well, the FBI can't forget it. And by the way, that word I was trying to look for that Steve Helling used in his article about his FBI, the FBI that he talked to, he said he called them his FBI source. That has a different meaning in the FBI lingo. Mm-hmm. He was using it in a different way and just saying he talked to his FBI source, and he's a journalist. A source to him means anyone he talked to that was in the FBI.
Right.
So the question is, what happened to her that night? Did her little brother kill her? And then a team of people who were around her swarmed into action and made it look like some sort of a kidnapping gone wrong. Who knows? Geez, that was so over the top. 1 minute she was being kidnapped. There's no talk of sex. There's no talk of sex torture. There's no talk of any of that stuff. By the next afternoon, around 3 p.m. or so, she's found down in the basement. She'd never been kidnapped, supposedly. unless she got returned. And she's got, torture chamber ligatures around her neck, and it looks sexual, and her genitals have been attacked, that wasn't a sex act. That was just that was a desecration.
Right.
And see, that's the thing about that charge of desecration. Everything that was done to her body would have been that charge of desecration. That thing that was done to her vaginal area, that jab, that would have been one 22-year charge. Everything, that ligature around her neck, that would have been another one. That would have been 44 years. We're up to 44 years. You see how this works?
Right.
It doesn't. Here's the thing about me, and I can't talk about things like this. I'm talking to you about it as a friend in a private call. I pray to God. But can you imagine me getting on a podcast and talking like this, and people hearing me all over the internet, or then in mainstream media and the FBI hearing it and all that crap? You think I'm the key, and I know that you want to go, but you think I'm the key. How? How am I the key? Because I was there that night, and I know what happened to her that night?
I think more the key for me, in that filling in the blanks of what I don't know about you in that situation, as far as, were you let in? Did somebody know you were there? Because you keep saying it would make more sense if people knew you from Georgia, but then it begs the question of, why were you in Colorado that night?
That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying about Georgia. That's totally disconnected from that. Has nothing to do. I did not say that every dealing I had with that child,
not every deal, no, not the deal.
Georgia.
You said would it make more sense? You said wouldn't it make more sense? That's all I meant. Yeah, sorry.
Let me finish. I'm talking about how I knew this girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about proximity. If you can't establish proximity, it makes it almost impossible.
Right.
To press a charge against anyone. It looks like it didn't make a difference. I had charges pressed against me because of how I described how I killed her. That's all it took.
Right.
I didn't have to establish proximity. Please don't take something out of context. I'm telling you how I might have met her. I'm telling you how I might have continued to know her. But that has nothing to do with the night of December 25th in Boulder, Colorado. I mean, we weren't exactly so primitive in Alabama that we didn't have cars and airplanes.
Right.
I mean, a person could get on a jet and be in a nonstop flight from Atlanta to Denver. It wasn't unheard of. It was common.
Sure.
The busiest airport in the world was Atlanta. Even then, in 1996, it was the busiest airport in the world.
I guess my question is just why then? Why go?
So I need to answer.
You don't.
Why I went to
you don't have to. No. This is just, we were talking about the key to me is what I'm saying.
No, I don't have to, but you don't. You're trying to take something I said about Georgia,
ignore
and
that.
a connection I had with her in Georgia, and discount that I could ever be in Boulder.
No, I'm not discounting it.
That's
why I want to know. I want to know why. That's the key for me. Is I just want to know why you went.
I thought you said I was a key to this case,
you
to
are
solving it.
You are, but for me, I need to put it behind me.
Well, you can put it. Okay, well, you can put it behind you. I'm never going to talk anymore. I have nothing more that I can say about that little girl. I can't even say that I knew her. I can dance around and tell you that, look, I had proximity to the kid. She was born in a hospital that my twin daughters were supposed to be born in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can dance around with it with you. But as far as me saying, okay, here's the deal, like I did with Michael Tracy, I was using an assumed name. He didn't know who I was. You know exactly who I am. You could possibly be able to figure out where I am. I just shouted out a few minutes ago, I'm in Europe right now. Mm-hmm. My point being, yes, okay, I might have known her and frequently saw JonBenet in Atlanta on her trips back from Colorado, sure, but that doesn't mean I never, ever, ever traveled to another state to be with her.
Right.
For Christmas. It was a holiday. It was a special holiday on top of it. Why is that ludicrous to you?
No, it's not.
It's not ludicrous. It's if you get close to a child and their mother, and I'm not saying I was close, I'm not even telling you I knew this girl. If you think I didn't know her or her mother, thank God Almighty. Now I can sleep a little bit better tonight, which I never can. But I'm just, I'm baffled by the fact that if I tell you something that's it's in a different category. It's in the category of how did you know her? How did you maintain contact with her? Well, it wouldn't have been multiple trips to Colorado.
Right.
Because if it had, my wife would have said so. So somewhere along the way, if you want me to spell it out to you, I guess you're forcing me to. Somewhere along the way, the contact with the mother and the little girl would have been maintained in her trips back to her parents, which were frequent. More than one time a year, not just in summer, more than one time a year. During holidays that I was also in Atlanta visiting my biological family, my brothers. I had 2 brothers, and I had a father, and I had a grandmother. And I was visiting those people on holidays. Who else was in Atlanta on holidays? Patsy Ramsey and her daughter.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, appreciate you clearing that up for me.
People understand? I know, but that doesn't have anything to do with making a trip to Colorado. Sometimes people do things. What if I had gotten into a tremendous argument with my wife at the time, and I was just beside myself, and I called up Patsy Ramsey, and she said, I tell you what, Christmas, you're going to have a good Christmas. You're just going to come to Boulder. We'll meet you outside of the house. I can get you into the house when my husband goes to sleep. We're just going to be together. What if we were having an affair? It's not the end of the world. I mean, people have affairs. Her sister said, Pam Paw said, she used to be a 6th grade teacher, probably now retired. And she was angry because people were rumoring it around that I was having an affair with Patsy Ramsey. It incriminates Patsy Ramsey for people to say things like that about her and me. So Pam Paw was angry, and she said, I won't have it. She wasn't having an affair with him. If she was having an affair with any man, she would have told me. We were very close sisters. No, she wouldn't have told her sister of all people. That is a secret that would have destroyed her marriage. Her marriage, she wasn't a career woman. You understand? Right. She was a housewife. She lived to be married to John Ramsey. She lived for her children. So the bottom line is her family, husband, wife, kids, that was her life. She was not going to become a single parent of 2 kids, raising those kids on her own, away from the old man's money. Think about it. So she needs to go and tell her sister that she's sleeping with some guy that she met in Atlanta who was very good looking. I was not an ugly person. You know how I know I wasn't ugly? Because of all the gorgeous girlfriends I had. I had little girls who were just telling me what I looked like. I won't say what they said, but it was no secret what I looked like. It was no secret. So could she have been attracted to me? Why not? Right. Everyone else was at the time. Yeah. So the thing is, and do people have affairs? Of course they do. Does that mean that they're killing their daughter with the person they're having an affair with? No. But here is the rub, and here's the catch, and here's the reason I can never say this about this woman. And people ask me this question. I was asked in an interview with Dan Abrams. He did bring up, or I brought it up. He said something about how I met the girl. And I said, well, if you meet a child, if you're not their teacher or you're not in some place where they go, like their school every day, you have to have a liaison. Right. And he said, well, who was your liaison? Something to that effect. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you who my liaison was because it will incriminate them. It's not because they're guilty or because they're not guilty. They'd just be incriminated. Right. How could I sit on MSNBC and say that anyone was my liaison, whoever it might have been. It might have been a domestic worker of theirs in Atlanta. And while they were out and about. But here's another thing about Patsy Ramsey. She was so always around her kids, kind of a mom. You know what I mean? She was always around her kids. This is not a mom who took a vacation from her kids. That woman was the epitome of what they call a trad wife. Have you heard this expression, trad wife? That's what Patsy Ramsey was, as close to trad wife as you could get. And she loved every minute of it. And she would never do anything to jeopardize it, which, you know, maybe Pam Paul has a point. She never would have done something like having an affair in the first place. It would have jeopardized her situation. So it seems at the end of the conversation, and I don't want us to have another fight at the very end, because I want to say this about that first phone call. I think it was splendid up until the very end.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. I apologize for that.
I felt terrible about it. I apologize to you for losing my temper. It's never right for a person to raise their voice to another. I didn't scream out obscenities. I didn't do things like that, but it was not, I had to tell people close to me what happened. They weren't happy about it, and they were disappointed in me for that. And again, I don't have a problem with saying it again. I apologize to you for raising my voice to you in anger.
Well, I apologize as well, yeah.
Well, thank you. And you apologized already, and I saw that as you being a gentleman. I'm disappointed that the conversation started off squeaky, but it did. I don't know what you think about me. You might think you're talking to a monster. And if you think you're talking to a monster, your patience with me would be pretty thin.
No, people are way more complex than just being able to say a single box like monster or something like that. That's why it's I don't see you as a monster at all.
Well, then that means you're going to answer the $1 million question at the end of the phone call.
What is it?
What is the $1 million question that I'm always asked? So what I'm saying is, what do you think the answer to that question is about me?
Yes, I think you did it.
Could you be more precise? Because did it is.
I think you were with her when she died.
That's even more complex. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But there's one thing that you're not saying, that you think I killed her.
Right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because I don't believe you think you killed her, like, you know, in a malicious way.
I didn't ask you what I thought. I asked you what you think about me. This has nothing to do.
I know, but
please keep everything in its perspective place. It's like going into one of those garages where you see a man. He's like a dad, and he's got those drawn things around his tools, and all those tools fit inside those drawings on the wall. It's not what I think about what I did. Obviously, we know what I think about that, because I was in a phone call with Mr. Tracy, and in no uncertain terms, I explained to him how I killed that girl. We already know what I have to say about that.
Right.
We know about what I have to say about that. I've never denied that. How can I deny it? How can I deny it? I mean, isn't it too late for that? I don't understand that. When people say, why don't you deny it? I mean, there's one answer would be because it's not true. I'd be lying. I've never been accused of being a liar in my entire life until I was 41 years old. Do you know anyone like that?
No.
Do you know anyone that never was called a liar or delusional? I've been called a genius. I've been called extremely intelligent. I've been called all kinds of complimentary mental things about my mind. Never called insane until I was 41 years old. And that cannot just happen after you turn 41 years old either.
No, it doesn't.
So you're hedging your answer. You first said you think I did it. I don't know what that means. And then you said, okay, I think you were with her when she died. Boy, we really don't know what that means. Because I just established earlier in the conversation that my brother and my grandmother were holding the hand of my grandmother when she died.
Right.
Crying their eyes out.
I think you know what happened is what I mean, basically. I think you know,
But how could you go from I know what happened to I did it?
Well, I think as in because you were there. Like it's saying like again, I'm not saying that like you killed her is what I'm saying. I think you were very much the events of the night and everything that happened, and I believe you.
But you can't. But you don't think I killed her
On purpose? No.
Oh, see. Okay. Do you, man, this is like an interrogation. I study interrogations, by the way, and I've been doing it for the last few years. There was a time when I couldn't watch them, but the police, sometimes when they're questioning a suspect, they just have to keep on getting more precise and more precise and more specific, and finally they get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play interrogator, and I'm going to say, you don't think I intentionally killed her. In other words, you don't think it was murder in the first degree.
Well, I mean, if we're going under Colorado statutes, it could be considered murder in the first degree because it was done during a sexual abuse. That's how they would consider it for first degree, and then.
Yeah, what is that?
But they changed it. They've changed it since then.
That's called felony murder. It's murder in the midst of committing a felony crime. For instance, murder while robbing a bank.
Exactly. Yeah.
Murder while committing another felony crime, which is if you go back to the recording of my phone call with Tracy, you'll know I wasn't. Okay, let's to be very unpleasant. Let's say that this assault to her head,
mm-hmm.
which supposedly said to Tracy was the final blow that definitely killed her. There was no sex act that was being committed to her during that murder act. But if you go with number 2 reason on the medical examiner for her cause of death, she has 2 causes of death.
Right. One
is asphyxiation, and the other is blunt force trauma to the head, which left it up in the air. So the asphyxiation part, yes, that could have been considered a sexual act, but there really was nothing involving the genitals during that. It was just a crank. Nothing involving the genitals. So it really would go back to my question, because I like to know who I'm talking to. Because you know who you're talking to, and I don't even know who you are. I don't. So do you think that I killed this girl unintentionally, accidentally?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think I was alone?
That's the part I'm unsure about. I don't think so.
Do you think if I was alone, that later that I went for help, or I asked someone to help me, or there was
yes.
help after the fact?
Yes.
An accomplice of sorts. And who do you think that person was?
Patsy.
Not her husband.
Not her husband.
Not her son. Not her son.
No.
Well, might I interject that due to some information that's never been released to the public concerning a simultaneous investigation that was being conducted at the same time of the grand jury hearing, it leads me to believe that the person that the grand jury believed they were protecting was an adult person, and they felt that it was a man.
Interesting.
Not their child.
Okay.
They would not have been accused of giving access to their daughter to their own son. Their son would have had access to their daughter ipso facto. He was her brother.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
I didn't have a chance to look that up while we were talking, but I'm almost certain that they were being charged with giving access to their daughter to this person. And I believe it was knowing that he was abusing her or something to that effect.
Right, basically allowing it to happen.
I am so sorry. I cannot divulge all information. And the reason I can't is because it will incriminate me.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
Now, are you asking me if I kill this girl unintentionally? Is that what you've never asked me that question? Good. Because I cannot answer that question. I cannot insinuate it. I cannot imply it. I cannot deny it. I cannot admit it. I cannot address it. I just wanted to know what you thought. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know if you thought I had an accomplice, at least after the fact. You don't think I had an accomplice during the time of her death, right?
No.
Okay. Have you run into anyone who agrees with you? Or have you never shared it?
That's not something that's been shared, no.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty. Do you swear to me you're being honest with me?
I swear I'm being honest with you.
I respect it. It will never be breathed.
Okay. No, agreed.
I do have a family, and I will tell you, they know everything that I say to someone and everything that someone says to me. And unfortunately, that will be shared. But my family is so airtight, confidential. I could tell them if you confess murder and it would never be found out in your lifetime. I'm not going to say that because that'd be a crime.
Right.
But let's just put it this way.
The sentiment, I appreciate that.
Nothing will come of it. Nothing will come out of it. I'm not talking about the Karrs in America. That's not my family.
Well, your family now. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time and speaking with me, Reich. I really do, and satisfying my curiosity.
Thank you for taking time. Thank you. Listen. Before I go, is there anything that I said that will make you just shut down that podcast and have a different kind of a podcast and talk about something that's different? And
yes,
maybe you could still talk about crime if you want to talk about crime, but you could just talk about a lot of different cases. I see people on YouTube and they just talk about different crimes all over the world.
Yep. No, it definitely has.
Is there any way that I can? I'm telling you, this is a dead end.
Yeah.
This case can never be solved because it requires a certain degree of cooperation. They have lost that in me. They lost it a long time ago. And I just recently, in that statement of December 29th, announced it publicly how I'm going to deal with any subsequent arrest. I'm sure that some people laugh about that statement, but it's probably my final statement. Mm-hmm. And it's just basically, it's closing the lid on my piece in this, because I'm not going to play anymore. I'm not going to talk anymore.
I respect that.
I talked to you. I talked to you. You told me it's between the two of us. You told me it was for your own, to help you understand, for your own understanding. Is that correct?
Yes. And I appreciate it because you've helped me with that a lot. So
you can stay in touch with me if you like. You can discuss other cases with me if you like. I'm actually quite knowledgeable about being a suspect.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
And that gives me knowledge. I know what it feels like to be investigated by the FBI. If you want to talk to me about another case that doesn't involve me, other cases do involve me. I wouldn't want to talk to you about any case that involves me, but
that sounds great. Yeah.
I have moved on from this. So think about it this way. If someone who was arrested for her murder and her kidnapping and her sex assault can move away from this. I've never had a podcast. I've never written a book. I've never had a YouTube channel. I have a website, and it's so limited. It's such a limited little thing. Mm-hmm. So, I've never indulged in these things. That website was started in 2014, and for about a few years of it, I was talking about a law that could be put in place for mandatory orchiectomy surgery for convicted pedophiles. I completely removed that. I have found there's nothing I can do good to society. I can't do any good to society. I am good for nothing. I am good for absolutely nothing, except my family.
Exactly.
My family is the final bastion of my existence, the only reason I live, the good that I do. Let me say this, no bad taste in your mouth about my family, but they did not want me to talk to you. They did not want me to talk to you in the first place. I got quite a talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call it a dressing down, but I think it was pretty much a dressing down for all the things that I said to you. Not happy that I lost my temper with you because I represent the family, and everything that I say is a reflection on them.
Right.
So, I'm trying to be friendly with you, and I want to end the conversation on this friendly note.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you, you can talk to me, you can text me if you'd like, we can talk again in the call if you'd like, anything you like, but just try to move on from that little girl. Listen, that little girl was a lovely little girl, and I've cried many tears about her, and it doesn't ever change anything. She's still gone. And she wasn't a vengeful child. She was a good little girl, and she loved her fellow friends, children she didn't even know that were strangers. She just was a good child. And there was a goodness in her that would not want all of this turmoil to be swirling around her death. Mm. It's not good for her memory. If you want to honor her life, get away from the pageants, find photos of her. That the only photo, I have a couple of photos. One is a photo of her, a school photo, and one is a photo of her on Christmas morning with her mom. No pageant photos on my side, and there's a reason for that. But might I just encourage you, just get away from that little girl.
I will.
It's not her. That's not her that you're seeing in that casket. It's kind of like people tell you when you visit someone who's in a casket. That's not her, man.
Yeah.
This case is not that child. She was so wonderful and beautiful inside and out, and she's so happy, and she had so much fun, and she was so happy, and nothing about this is fun.
No.
And happy. Nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's pulling her memory through the mud and the mire. I hate it. I avoid it. I have avoided this ever since she died. I have avoided it. And then I became the center of it. And I made it worse. My arrest turned a national story into an international story. It perpetuated that filth that surrounds that child. I'm so disappointed in John Ramsey with his book writing and his interviewing and all. I'm so disappointed in that man. And Patsy did it too. I was disappointed in her as well. She wrote a book with her husband. Disappointment, surprise, shock. I didn't see that coming. Has nothing to do with pageants. Has nothing to do with sex. Has nothing to do with murder. It's just this kid. And she's in paradise. She plays with her sisters and brothers in paradise as we speak. She is okay. She's okay. I once said, if she knew me, she would have loved me. And if she loved me, she would want me to be with my family out of the United States free. That's just what I know in my heart. I know that in my heart. And that's how I'm able to wake up and look at myself in the mirror. And, if I did something like that to that child, you can imagine the torment that I go through every day of my life.
I bet.
It would be torment, crying, gnashing of teeth, a hell on earth. And don't think I haven't experienced that. It might not be every day. I have a lot of beautiful things in my life. Right now I live in a gorgeous little condo. I've got an unbelievable view. I just walk out just every few minutes just to look out off my terrace. So, I live a beautiful life, but I can tell you one thing about that little girl. She would be happy for me. She would not. Don't fall into that justice for JonBenet stuff.
Right.
It's the devil. It's the very devil. Of course, I'd say that, wouldn't I?
No.
I'd say that. It goes in my favor. But I'm not saying that to be selfish. I'm not a selfish person. I'm saying it because I know her. And the system had their chance with me. They muffed it. They blew it. They had their chance. They made up their mind. The system, I never got my day in court.
Yeah.
But it's the next best thing. It's the next best thing.
Moving on.
And I will not be punished by anyone. You are so lucky. You're the luckiest man on the planet. Right now, you're the luckiest man. You know what I was doing when I was your age? I was in an FBI investigation, and for 6 months, I was in a cell. Think about that.
Yeah.
Look at that family and say to yourself, I talked to a man who's the age I am now, almost, just a year older, and he was going through hell, lost his whole family. Yeah. I lost my wife. I lost my 3 sons like they were nothing. Never saw them again. Yeah. Man, you've got everything that your heart could desire. And you don't need that horrible, and the people that are listening to that podcast, they're dangerous people.
Right.
They're dangerous. You can never tell. They'll show up at your house. These are freaks. Yeah. They're horrible. They're violent. They've threatened to kill me over the years. So I'm so glad I got to hear you say you wanted to get past this. And if I can help you do that, I hope that's the purpose that you talked to me. It wasn't to do an interview. Thank God. I'm going to thank the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit when I get off the phone with you, because that makes my prayers come true.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Are you jinxing him?
Jinxing him? Yeah, we basically jinxed him.
That's a second jinx.
That's the end of the call, basically. That's...
Oh my fucking God. Never in my life did I ever think guys would see 2 jinxes so quickly back to back.
Jinxed him.
Jinx.
Fupa to Fupa.
Yeah.
Fupa Gordon Jr.?
What?
Fupa
No, I don't want no
That's
seafood,
not a
Bobby.
person.
Wait a minute. Wait, shut up on her.
Yeah.
Huh.
Does this mean that, are we gonna not be a show no more? Is that what you just...
Wait.
Did you tell him that we're not gonna be no show? Are we going...
Are we
is
over?
the end of JonBenet today?
Oh, well, take out the...
Michael Jackson got his hair set on fire on a Pepsi commercial. Todd Bridges got his hair set fire on an RC Cola commercial.